Welcome to another version of Field Phone Ops, and today we're going to talk about something a little different. We're going to talk about a TM-184 terminal strip and a TA-125 terminal box. These were used by the signal crew in the field to go ahead and terminate and connect field phones and cables together. So sit back and enjoy. 184 terminal strip. These were developed in actually 1938, right when doing your. It allowed them to bring two pieces of field wire into one side and come out the other side, so you could use them to break say a multi-pair cable out into individual pairs of cable field wire, insert a test point somewhere where you could test different wires going in different directions, just basically help them organize how they laid their field wire out better. These have actually been in use from the World War II all the way up into the 1990s. I found references to them in manuals, field manuals. They changed very little. The original ones that they came out with were basically this right here. They had a screw binding post on them. These are push button ones. The actual screw binding post you put a piece of field wire into and you screwed the thing down and had a point in it that drove through the insulation of the wire and made contact. Well, they stopped using those toward the end of World War II because the field wire went from being really thick to being thin like this WD-1 I have right here. And when you'd stick it in the hole and screw it down tight, sometimes it would be offset and you'd miss piercing the insulation. So they came up with this. I'll go ahead and hook a piece up here right now. You just go ahead and put one piece in the one side, one wire in the other. The bar connected them then. They originally were designed to be used. They used a bracket originally to hang on a tree or whatever. You mounted this bracket, then you hung the TM-184 on it. This was a change they made during World War II where they just put these mounting holes in it. These holes allowed you to mount it via screws or nails or field wire. You could mount it to a tree, a post, or whatever you wanted to use it for, or mount it from. You could do. I've got some pictures I'll show you on of how they had it mounted. Also, it's interesting, the original ones they came out with during World War, right before World War II and during the war, had an actual canvas case that fit over them. So this would fit inside a canvas case with a zipper on the front. You make all your wire connections. It'd be hanging on a tree or whatever. You make all your wire connections and you'd zip this piece closed and it would protect it. Well, those have long been gone. Also, I can't find any more reference to using those anymore. The latest manual I had, it references using them in the 1960s. Talked about using a scrap of canvas or wood or something like that to put some kind of weather roof or shelf over it to protect it from the weather. Also, you'll see in the picture that I'm going to post with it that there's actually they actually have a wooden shelf built over the top of it. But basically, was it. You put one wire on each side. This could do 7 field wires. Has little clamps on the bottom. The idea was you could bring a cable into this, tighten it up with the clamp, and better hold everything in place when you're working with it. This one right here I have was actually made in 1967, so it's probably one of the newer ones they have. I've never worked with these before, but they're pretty handy, and like I said, they're still being showed in the field manuals from the 1990s. So this is a TM-184 terminal strip. Thanks for watching. And here we go. Here's an example I talked about earlier about the TM-184 and its canvas cover. Here's a picture from the original TO of the canvas cover. You can see I have one open, one closed, and basically the terminal strip fit inside the canvas cover. You went and pulled the zipper down and notice there was a drawstring at the bottom that you could tie up to help tighten it up. And then the picture on the right, basically this is what it looked like when you had it tied up like that. And here's a picture of TM-184 is actually deployed. This picture was taken during World War II. Looks like he has looks like 6 of them there, but it gives you an idea how they've got it fastened to a tree and they're using it to all their routing and terminating their cables and such. You can see they got a tag on each of the cables so they can mark and keep track of which one's which. And also notice they have a little like shelf or cover built at the top of it to protect it from the rain. I don't know whether this was a soldier or marine, but they did a lot of wiring. Okay, this is a TM-125/GT terminal box. And this is different from the terminal strip. It's actually an aluminum box right here. You can see it, aluminum case. Has D-rings on it, which allows you to hang it from a tree or a post or whatever using nails, screws, field wire, cord or whatever. Has a latch on it. It's fairly weather tight. It's not really super, you couldn't dunk it in water, but it will keep rain out. And when you open it up, it looks like this. And basically what you have is you have a row of binding posts on each side. There's 12. Now for 12 pieces of field wire coming one side and 12 pieces of field wire coming in the other. And in the center you have these little twist switches right here. Right now with the switch set like that, it's connected so that this binding post is connected to this binding post. But if you take the screwdriver, you go inside there, and I just open it up. What does this allow for? This allows you to go in there and do testing from this. That's what this second row of holes for is right here. They actually had a test kit that came with this. I wish I had one. It's called an MX842, and it had different tools in there and probes that you would stick inside there and patch cords, and it basically allowed you to do troubleshooting and monitoring and testing on circuits. The reason they came up with this, and the reason it has 12, is because they would use it in conjunction with a SB22 switchboard. So you set your switchboard up in your tent, then somewhere, tent or shelter or wherever you're going to put it, then somewhere that's not in the way, you'd hang this up and your switchboard would come in on this side and your wires would come out on this side. And basically what it allowed you to do was it allowed you to go in there and troubleshoot and check circuits and that without having to bug the switchboard operator or tear the switchboard or anything apart. It became an easy way to get in there and check and troubleshoot and test circuits. Like I said, they actually had little patch cords made that would plug in. They had double plugs, so you could plug in, say, for this 2 pieces of field wire right here. You can actually reroute them to these 2 pieces of field wire if you ever wanted to. Pretty interesting. There's a handy little box. I've used these. We used to use these to break out multi-pair cables into individual cables for phone lines and that. Down here in the bottom was actually a chart. I don't know how you can see this. So you can annotate using a pencil or grease pencil what phone numbers or circuit data and stuff. The binding posts themselves are pretty simple. I'll show you. We'll hook a wire up here quick. They're actually push buttons. So you actually will go ahead and we'll hook this bottom one up. So you push the binding post down, insert the wire. Push the binding post down, insert the wire. Maybe. Okay, there we go. Then you take, and there's a little notch there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a notch there with a rubber piece in it. Well, you go ahead and fit your wire into that. We'll do the other one on the other side, make it look sort of like we're doing a actual connection here. Push the button in there and push the field wire in there. Push it down. There we go. We pull it around this side and we once again go through this little notch right here with a piece of rubber inside here. And we go ahead and seal it up. And basically there we go. We have basically a weatherproof connection for field wire. And that's what this is used for. I had several of these. We used them a lot. Mainly to break up, we use a lot of Cat5 cable to run phone circuits on, and this is what we use it for. You can bring a piece of Cat5 cable, which has 4 pairs of wire in on this side, and connect it up right here, then pull out individual phone drops on the other side, or vice versa. And like I said, by turning the little screw switches here, you could close or open a wire path that allow you to test it. And this is a TM-125/GT. Thanks for watching. And here's the example of the MX842 maintenance kit or checking kit that came with it. You can see these are the objects or the components it had. It had 4 of the patching cords so you can move circuits around. The small little square rectangular things are actually little signal or ring detectors. You could plug into those little holes and it would actually detect if you had a ring signal coming in, so you could check ringing on circuits. And the 2 black things were actually individual probes that were spring loaded, so you could put the probe in the hole and then it was spring loaded, so the jaws was you could put a piece of field wire into it and you could go ahead and test circuits. I've I've seen several of these cases online. I just can't seem to find one that's got the items in it.